So good evening dear students, welcome to Bajirao IAS Academy, the Hindu news analysis. So today we have some important articles along with one mains practice question. So one by one we'll try to discuss all these articles along with this mains practice question. So the question today is about the Election Commission of India, and we all knew that Election Commission of India is a very important topic for General Studies paper 2 in the mains examination. Now in this context it is very important to discuss the independence of Election Commission of India and the ability of the Election Commission of India to conduct free and fair elections, and the ability of Election Commission of India to deal with criminalization of politics. So all these things that we should discuss in a very detailed manner, but here the question is specifically talking about now how does Election Commission of India discharge its constitutional mandate, because remember that Election Commission of India is a constitutional body, right? So it is a constitutional body, and in India the Election Commission of India is mandated to conduct elections for the state legislative assemblies and the parliament, including Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, president and vice presidential elections. So in this context, the Election Commission of India usually conduct elections in a free and fair manner. So that is what the Constitution has tasked the Election Commission of India is with. Now in this context, the Election Commission of India also faces some challenges as well. Now the question is, what does Election Commission of India, the Election Commission of India discharge its constitutional mandate to conduct free and fair elections in the country, and what are the challenges that it has been facing? And when you write challenges, you should remember that you should also mention way forward, some suggestions as well, because that is also a very important, right? So here some additional details with respect to Election Commission of India has been given, so you can go through those additional details. For example, the roles and responsibilities of the Election Commission of India, for example, notifying dates and schedules of elections and implementing the model code of conduct for conducting elections, and also preparing updating electoral rolls, and apart from that your division of constituencies, particularly the delimitation commission, and all those things would be done. And Election Commission of India also registers political parties, although it has no power to deregister the political parties. Now introduction, how you can write the introduction in this answer. Now Election Commission of India, we all knew that it has the ability to conduct free and fair elections, and it is also very important for a democracy like India, right? So in India, so we have a parliamentary form of government, or I would say that a parliamentary democracy that we have. And in a parliamentary democracy, conducting free and fair elections, ensuring a level playing field, is very important for sustaining democracy. However, so in order to ensure that these elections are conducted in a free and fair and even impartial manner, the constitutional makers already provided some provisions with respect to conducting elections, and an impartial independent constitutional body like Election Commission of India, it has been provided by the Indian Constitution itself under Article 324 to 329 in part 15 of the Indian Constitution. So Election Commission of India deals with part 15 of the Indian Constitution from Article 324 to Article 329 of the Constitution. And in fact, the Constitution itself has empowered Parliament to make laws to regulate the electoral process as well. Now in this context, ensuring free and fair elections in India, how Election Commission of India actually ensures free and fair elections, so that is what we should look into. Now we all knew that Election Commission of India ensures free and fair elections by implementing the model code of conduct, which is MCC, right? So when Election Commission of India announces schedule for conducting elections to state legislative assemblies or its model code of conduct, and it also implement this model code of
conduct. So thereby punishing any candidate or any political party that violates this model code of conduct, and that's one way of ensuring the ensuring free and fair elections. And the second way is that commissioning has gone to that extent, ensuring discipline within the political parties, right? So in fact, with the threat of de-recognizing if parties fail to maintain the inner party democracy. Inner party democracy among these political parties is also very, very important for sustaining democracy and also ensuring free and fair elections. Right. So, Election Commission of India enjoys certain powers. So, with those powers, it could punish those political parties, those candidates who actually violate the rules, and this will help ensure free and fair elections. And apart from that, it also upholds the values which are being enshrined in the Indian Constitution. Now, when you look into the Indian Constitution, it has actually embedded with certain values. Now, what are those values? Equality, equity, impartiality, independence, and even rule of law. So, all those values which are being embedded or encompassed in the Indian Constitution can be upheld by the Election Commission of India through superintendence, direction, control over the electoral governance in India. Right. So this is another way of ensuring free and fair elections. And in fact, it also conduct elections with the highest standards of credibility, freeness, fairness, transparency, integrity, accountability, autonomy, and professionalism. So this is how Election Commission of India actually ensures the elections are conducted in a free and fair manner. That Election Commission of India don't show biasness towards the ruling party or the leaders who belong to the ruling party, and that is very important in a democracy like India. Right. So in India we have a functional democracy. Right. So in order to sustain that functional democracy, we should ensure that the Election Commission of India is independent. And in fact, it also ensures participation of all eligible citizens in the electoral process in an inclusive, voter centric, as well as voter friendly environment. Right? So, however, in ensuring free and fair elections, the Election Commission of India is also facing certain challenges. So, those challenges we should try to understand. Now, firstly, the government and the leaders who are belonging to the ruling party very often misusing the official machinery, or the government machinery is being misused by the parties which are in power. For example, those parties which are in power are issuing the advertisements at the cost of government fund or public fund, and that has been, so those advertisements have been highlighting achievements, disbursements out of the discretionary funds at the disposal of ministries, use of government vehicles for canvassing. So all these things won't provide a level playing field between different political parties and also the candidates. Right. So apart from that, it has also been distorting the informed decision making of the voters. Now, in a functional democracy, in a healthy democracy, we always expect that voters are informed, right? So they take informed decisions when it comes to casting their vote. Right. However, the political parties are started influencing the voters by announcing freebies or even influencing voters through doing vote bank politics, particularly a communalization or casteization of politics or politicization of caste. So all these factors have been influencing the voters and thereby distorting the informed decision making of the voters as well. And apart from that, lack of independent staff, particularly for the Election Commission of India, is also another shortcoming that ECI has been facing, because ECI does not have its own staff and it very often relies on those of central and state government whenever elections are being held. So this is another major problem that has been affecting the independence as well as the ability of the Election Commission of India to conduct free and fair elections. And politicization of social media is another major problem. We are living in an age where information is being spread through social media. But in recent times, what generally happens is that the social media is very often politicized, and we knew that social media very often reflect public opinion, and public opinion is very often considered as a currency of democracy. But whenever we politicize a social media, then that would also distort the informed decision making of the voters, and that won't be good for the democracy, particularly any functional democracy. And the other thing that we need to understand that the model code of conduct so is also declared by Election Commission of India, and it will be implemented after the election schedule is announced. However, as of now, there is no statutory backing for the model code of conduct, and that is another shortcoming, right? So that has been affecting the ability of ECI to ensure free and fair elections, right? And in fact, there's no clarity regarding powers of Election Commission of India to enforce them on the ground. And in fact, so there's also a phenomenon of fake news and misinformation which is openly spread across the digital platforms, and that is also one of the key concern about the candidates, about the political parties. And that is also another factor which has been posing new challenges for the Election Commission of India when it comes to conducting elections in a free and fair manner. And this aspect has to be dealt with. So, however, there are some suggestions and way forward also to address these challenges and enhance the ability of Election Commission of India to conduct free and fair elections. And you just have to remember that whenever you mention challenges, it is very important that you should also mention the appropriate suggestions as well. So give equal constitutional protection for all three election commissioners as opposed to just the chief election commissioner, right? So as of now, only chief election commissioner enjoys the constitutional protection, but it is important that we need to give constitutional protection to all election commissioners, and that is very important to ensure independence and impartiality of the Election Commission of India. And in fact, as of now, the expenditure of the Election Commission of India is made upon the Consolidated Fund of India. It is not charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India. Now, any expenditure which is charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India, so that expenditure is not subjected to vote in the Parliament. However, it is recommended that the expenditure must be charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India, similar to other constitutional bodies such as UPSC. And apart from that, all provisions of the model code of conduct should have a legal backing. So we have just discussed that model code of conduct has no legal backing, but it is very important that all provisions of model code of conduct should have a clear a legal backing or a statutory backing. And Election Commission of India needs to be given the powers of deregistering a political party. Now, as of now, Election Commission of India can actually register a political party, but it has no powers to deregister a political party. And in order to ensure that Election Commission of India conduct elections in a free and fair manner and ensure its impartiality, it is very important that Election Commission of India should be given powers to deregister political parties as well, which violate the Model Code of Conduct and other rules, right? So that's how you can actually address this question, but make sure whatever is given in the question you have to address that part, and that is very important. So we'll start discussing some articles one by one. The first article is how can we ensure healthy Bharat by the year 2047. So we all knew that by the year 2047 India is going to celebrate 100th year of its independence, and we also have the ambitious goal of Vikasit Bharat. We also have the ambitious goal of Vikasit Bharat or Developed India by 2047. We wanted to become Developed India by 2047. So, along with making India a developed country, it is also very important that we need to ensure India is a healthy India by the year 2047. However, even if we invest more on healthcare, that plays a very important role in in achieving the goal of Vikasit Bharat or developed India by the year 2047. So India's aspiration to become economically developed nation by the year 2047, which is also known as Vikasit Bharat, actually hinges on health and productivity of its population. So no doubt that we have a huge population, and we have also overtaken China in terms of world's largest populous country. But the development of our country, particularly if we wanted to become a developed country, our population must be productive, and also health of our population is very very important to substantially enhance the productivity of the population, right? So that's why we need to emphasize more on the healthcare system. So to achieve this, robust health systems must emerge by the year 2025. By the year 2025, so we must have to see a robust healthcare systems prioritizing prevention and equitable treatment, and also integration of the digital solutions, leveraging the Digital India mission. Because digital solutions also play a very important role in ensuring access to affordable healthcare. And apart from that, universal healthcare is also very very important, and these areas have to be focused if we wanted to ensure a robust healthcare systems this year 2025. And uh, you know that actually forms a foundation for a healthy Bharat by 2047. Now, so there are some steps which are being suggested by the author, and those steps will help India become a healthy Bharat. Now, first is universal health coverage, so ensuring access to affordable health care. So that is a universal health coverage. So universal health coverage can be ensured through the primary healthcare. So when we focus more on primary healthcare, so that plays a very important role in ensuring universal health coverage, and we need to focus more at the grassroots level, right? So apart from that, grassroots level, when I said grassroots level, so self-help groups, ASHA workers, and Anganwadi workers, and also ANMs, they play a very, very important role along with health and wellness centers. Health and wellness centers have been already created, right? So they actually play a very important role at the grassroots level, ensuring universal health coverage. And in fact, these health and wellness centers are created under Ayushman Bharat program, right? So Ayushman Bharat program, under which the health and wellness centers have been created at the grassroots level. And in fact, so the universal health coverage aims to ensure adequate financial protection and extensive service coverage to everyone, particularly the vulnerable communities who are living in the rural areas. Right? For example, Ayushman Bharat actually provides an insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees per every household. Right? So that's how it could ensure financial protection by ensuring health insurance, and also it ensures extensive service coverage as well. Now, if you look at the total out-of-pocket healthcare expenditure, health expenditure in India, the total out-of-pocket healthcare expenditure is around 43 percentage of the total income of any household. So that is much more higher, and it is very important that in order to bring people out of the chronic cycle of poverty, so we must focus on reducing this out of pocket healthcare expenditure. And immediate efforts have to be done to address the shortage of highly skilled doctors. Now, in fact, a number of reports, particularly National Family Health Survey 5 and even World Health Organization. So very often, uh, you know, uh, found out that in India there's a huge shortage of healthcare professionals, whether it is doctors or any other staff in the medicine, right? So it is very important that we must address the shortage of skilled doctors or highly skilled doctors in the Indian healthcare system by training technology enabled frontline workers and also allied health professionals. Now, when I say allied health professionals, you could bring in self-help groups, ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers, ANMs, and they could also play a very important role in bridging this deficit. And apart from that, you need to use, e-medicine or telemedicine, or you need to leverage the digital technologies to provide access to affordable healthcare to more number of people when you have a shortage of highly skilled doctors. So that plays a very important role in bridging this deficit. However, how Ayushman Bharat health insurance program would actually provides a template for transformation of healthcare in India and how it will ensure universal health coverage, and that area we should talk about, right? So Ayushman Bharat, no doubt it would upgrade primary healthcare architecture by providing health and wellness centers at the grassroots level with the state of the art facilities to address the primary healthcare needs of people. And apart from that, it also provides financial protection for the vulnerable groups. How it provides financial protection for the vulnerable groups? Because it provides 5 lakh rupees of health insurance to every household. And it would also enhance health infrastructure, particularly integrating it with digital technologies and also integration through the digital health technology, leveraging the Digital India mission, right? So Digital India mission or program has been launched to make sure or to create a knowledge economy, right? Or a digitally empowered society. Digital India mission has been launched, and the potential benefits of Digital India mission can be leveraged for providing universal access to healthcare. So, in this context, a digital health mission has also been launched, and this digital health mission plays a very important or vital role in epidemiological intelligence, surveillance, program monitoring, and also the overall system integration as well. However, when we talk about a robust healthcare system in India, so a data-driven decision making in India, particularly in healthcare, plays a very, very important role. Now, generally, when we have adequate data about the healthcare systems, so that helps us frame evidence-based policies, right? So evidence-based policies as well as right interventions as well, right? Interventions as well in the healthcare systems. So therefore, data-driven decision making could be facilitated through digital health mission, right? And in fact, data must be available at the district level, at the block level, for informed and even resource efficient and equity driven actions in the healthcare, and they play a very important role in ensuring universal access to the healthcare, primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, and even tertiary healthcare. So, however, we all knew that in India we have been seeing that there is a rising burden of non-communicable diseases, and it is very important that we need to address the problem of non-communicable diseases. And apart from non-communicable diseases, so mental health issues I would call a dual healthcare burden that India has been facing. So in this context, it is very important to address non-communicable diseases as well as the mental health care disorders, and for that we need to have a robust data. When we have a robust data, we could come up with appropriate interventions, and those interventions would help address all these issues. However, while integrated disease surveillance program IDSP, so it actually provides a lot of data on some infectious diseases through sentinel sites. But so despite having data, we could see that there is a rapid rise in zoonotic diseases in recent times. So zoonotic diseases are those diseases which actually spread from animals to human beings, and the rise of zoonotic disease have been calling for extensive and real-time surveillance of data. However, the wastewater surveillance and antimicrobial resistance monitoring must become a routine. Now, why antimicrobial resistance monitoring must become a routine, ensuring that we could prevent the non-communicable diseases. Now, antimicrobial resistance is the pathogens developing resistance to the existing medicines is called as antimicrobial resistance. So because of number of reasons, the antimicrobial resistance has been substantially increasing. For example, the wastewater from pharmaceutical industries contaminating the rivers, contaminating the soil, could be one reason, and excessive use of antibiotics in poultry industry, or even in animal husbandry is another reason, or prescription of drugs uh, by the doctors, or consuming drugs or administering drugs without the prescription of the doctor. So all these factors actually contribute to the antimicrobial resistance, and antimicrobial resistance is one of the major threat that has to be addressed. So how can we ensure that these zoonotic diseases spread can be controlled, and how can we ensure that the human population and animals health can be maintained? So that can be maintained through one health approach. So one health approach involves integration of data across human, animal, and environmental health systems to tackle climate related health threats that we have been facing nowadays. However, so we all knew that digital health mission is being progressively integrated. So this digital health mission progressively integrated uh, only mostly at the public health care facilities, public health care facilities, or publicly funded or operated public health facilities. However, when it comes to this private healthcare facilities adopting or integrating this digital health mission, so they, as of now, not actively embraced these digital initiatives, and that is also one of the factor. Because see, if you look at Indian healthcare system, it is heavily dominated by the private sector, and in this context, it is very important that private healthcare institutions must embrace these digital health initiatives, and that plays a very important role in ensuring holistic and inclusive healthcare to all, inclusive healthcare to all, and that plays a very important role in ensuring universal access to healthcare. So in fact, when private hospitals or private healthcare facilities so don't actively adopt digital health initiatives, it actually creates a huge disconnect in India's mixed health system, and that is detrimental to the delivery of appropriate and affordable healthcare at the population level, and that can endanger health of individual patients as well. And in fact, so in this context, it is very important and essential to use the digital strength of India. So whatever digital strength that we already have through Digital India mission, or the digitization that has taken place at a faster pace. So that digital strength of India should be used to bridge this disconnect between the private healthcare and the public healthcare. So when it comes to providing, quality healthcare at affordable prices, and this plays a very important role in bridging the disconnect between primary care and also publicly funded health insurance program, and that supports the secondary and tertiary hospital care as well. And last but not least, community participation also plays a very important role when it comes to ensuring access to healthcare, whether for crowdsourcing of surveillance data during outbreaks or for reporting glitches in the program implementation. So they can also be digitally enabled. So cloud community participation has to be digitally enabled. So all these interventions must be adopted to ensure that adequate healthcare, affordable healthcare, access to everyone. So that ensures universal healthcare access, and that plays a very important role in achieving the goal of healthy Bharat. And healthy Bharat would help realizing the goal of Vikasit Bharat. Okay, so Vikasit Bharat, right? So we wanted to become a Vikasit Bharat or developed country by the year 2047. And the next topic is Swamitva scheme and its benefits. Now, Swamitva scheme is one of the very important scheme, particularly for the rural development. So, in this context, it is important for us to understand what is Swamitva scheme, what are the benefits, and why the government has actually launched, and how it actually transforms the rural landscape. Now, recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said once property cards under Centre's Swamitva scheme have been distributed in almost all the villages across the country, it could potentially unlock economic activity worth of 100 lakh crore throughout the country, and that is the potential of the Swamitva scheme. And in fact, so Prime Minister was also addressing an event to distribute around 65 lakh property cards to property owners in around 50,000 villages through a video conferencing under the Swamitva scheme. And in fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held that 2.25 crore people in villages have so far received legal documents for their houses under the scheme. Now we'll understand what is a Swamitva scheme. Now Swamitva actually stands for Survey of Villages and Mapping with Improved Technology in Rural Areas. So this is the acronym of Swamitva scheme, right? So it actually means survey of villages and also mapping with improvised technology in village areas. And in fact, Swamitva scheme actually aims to provide record of rights, or ownership rights to rural households over the property that they have. In fact, so record of rights to those people who are living in the rural areas, and also issue them a property card. And in fact, the plan is to survey all rural properties. So those rural properties will be surveyed using drones and also prepare GIS based maps for each and every village. So what are the benefits of a Swamitva property card? So we would try to understand this as well. So it actually offers numerous benefits as held by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and also held by Ministry of Rural Development also. So we'll try to understand what are the benefits that this Swamitva scheme will actually offer. First, it enables the rural households to use those property or use their property as a financial asset for taking loans or other financial benefits. For example, a rural household would be given a property card, and the property card can be used as a collateral to get a short-term loan, right? A rural household can actually get a short-term loan, and that particular loan would be used, to start a business, right? So they can invest that amount of money in any small business, and that's how it would promote entrepreneurship, it would generate employment opportunities, and it would also boost the rural economy. So these are the benefits that Swamitva scheme actually hold. And even after getting, in fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held that, uh, you know Once they get these legal documents, lakhs of people have taken loans from the banks on the basis of their houses and property. And with this particular money that they have taken, so they started small businesses in the village. And many of the beneficiaries of this Swamitwa scheme are small and marginal farmers. Now, we all knew that in India, small and marginal farmers accounted for around 83%, and most of the beneficiaries are vulnerable small and marginal farmers. And the second benefit with the Swamitwa scheme is that it actually helps in determination of the property tax, right? So one thing that we need to understand, panchayats actually uh, they lack the ability to generate their own resources, so they have to generate their own resources. That is very important because as of now they mostly dependent on the center and state government for the fiscal transfers, right? So when you don't have a proper land record, it will be very difficult to generate or to get a property tax. Now these records or property cards will actually help panchayats in determination of property tax, and that accrues to gram panchayats directly in states where they are empowered to collect such taxes. For example, imagine that a state legislative assembly has empowered the panchayat to collect the property tax, right? So in that case, the panchayats, since every village would have a proper land record, so panchayats would collect the property tax, and that would help a panchayat generate its own resources, and those resources can be used for the development of the area, right? So its dependence on center and states for financial transfers would also substantially gets reduced. And in fact, these property cards will also help increase liquidity of land parcels in the market, and they can also increase financial credit availability to the village. And the scheme also paves the way for creation of accurate land records for rural planning, right? So they play a very important role in ensuring that these rural areas are planned in an accurate manner, and that will contribute to the overall rural development. And in fact, so all these property records in these rural areas under Swamitwa scheme are mapped or maps available at the Gram Panchayat, and even it helps in taxation of villages, construction permits, or even elimination of encroachments based on these property records. However, a framework for the implementation of Swamitva scheme provides a multi-stage process for generating a property card, which starts with signaling of a memorandum of understanding between Survey of India and respective state governments, right? So Survey of India plus respective state governments must sign a memorandum of understanding, and then the implementation of Swamitva scheme so provides a multi stage process for generating a property card for the rural households. However, it is expected that in coming 2 years, almost all rural households would get these property cards, and they can use these property cards as a collateral to get financial loan or to get loan from the institutional lenders. So the next topic is water hyacinth actually threatens livelihoods of fishers in a Kenyan lake. So Kenyan lake called Naivasha, right? So Naivasha is a lake in Kenya. So here in this map, so you can go through some important lakes in African continent. So this is also very important. Lake Chad, Lake Tana, Lake Turkana, Lake Victoria, Lake Albert, Lake Tanganyika, and Lake Nyasa. So a geography of African continent is very important from UPSC exam perspective. So therefore, you kindly go through all these important lakes, mountains, so all rivers as well. Now Kenya's popular lake Naivasha is getting impacted by a water hyacinth that has taken over a large part of this river, and that has been impacting the livelihoods of the farmers or livelihoods of the fishermen, and also impacting the water quality and aquatic life as well. And there may be a question that this particular lake is located, in which country, right? So Naivasha is located in Kenya in African continent. So this is a shallow freshwater lake, and it is located in southern Rift Valley in Kenya. And Lake Naivasha is considered to be a recent geological origin, and it is ringed by extinct or dormant volcanoes. And in fact, it is fed by the perennial Maleva and Gilgil rivers, which actually drain the Aberdare mountains of central Kenya. And important flora that you could find in this, Naivasha Lake in Kenya, including papyrus reeds, or they line much of the shoreline in Kenya, and floating rafts of the exotic water hyacinth. In the water hyacinth is also heavily uh, contaminating, polluting the river, or it is spreading the river, and it has been impacting the water quality of the river. So, in addition to the invaluable fresh water, it actually supports a large scale and vital economic activities, and that plays a very important role in generating livelihoods of number of fishermen who actually dependent on Lake Naivasha either directly or indirectly. Because so how it supports the economic activity, so there are a flower growing, fishing, and geothermal power generation are some of the important economic activities that took place in this Lake Naivasha. And in fact, this lake is also designated as a Ramsar wetland site. And in fact, water hyacinth is considered as native to South American continent, and it was reportedly to be introduced in Kenya in the year 1980s. So in the year 1980s, it was introduced in Kenya, and however, it is native to South America. So we could call that it is an invasive species, right? Because it is native to one part and it spread to the other part and threatening the ecosystem and aquatic life in other continent. So usually presence of water hyacinth indicates higher levels of pollution in a water body, and it also known to thrive in the presence of contaminants, and it grows very quickly, and it is considered as most invasive aquatic plant species in the world, right? So water hyacinth is also considered as the invasive aquatic plant species in the world. However, the water hyacinth growth in a water body prevent the penetration of sunlight. So sunlight would actually don't penetrate into the water, and that would impact the water table, right? So sorry, that would impact the quality of water, and that impact airflow, and it even impact the overall quality of the aquatic life, right? So it would even contribute to biomagnific sorry you know it would even contribute to the pollution of the water body over a period of time. So if adequate oxygen level is not available, so that would impact the aquatic life as well, right? So that's all in this lecture, and thank you so much.